Okay, so it's 10th of April 2016. Um, Sitting here in our unit at Sydney, New South Wales, talking about again about trying to create awareness about the Anglican Church and the computer criminal Bible students at Moore Theological Bible College and their connections with the Australian government and the police. Just an all-around powerful organization, creating a whole bunch of nastiness and mischief within Australian culture, and nobody really even notices it because they don't have the information, and it's basically all kept under the lid and all secret. Um, so I talked about Premier Bear going to Palestine last week. I think it was on the 4th that I saw the news report on Channel 9. It's a free-to-air channel here in Australia. Anyways, he went to Palestine, and the newspaper or the news report on Channel 9 made it look like he was really like pro Palestine. He was sympathetic to their plight and sympathetic to the Palestinian refugees and the children and that are suffering in that hostile environment. And but that's not the truth, of course. He was really there just for business, talking about marijuana cultivation for medical chemo therapy and such like that, medical grade marijuana, and techno startups, technological startups, and high tech startups, and cybercrime. And it's funny that he was talking about cybercrime because right next door there's a cyber criminal, and he's a Bible college at Moore Theological Bible College. But for him, it's okay. For some people, it's not cybercrime, it's study and national security. But for others, it's cybercrime. Depends on what side of the fence you're on. So I was talking about Baird in Palestine, and I also talked about Fool Flea over there, and I talked a little bit about his attacks and about a little pout match he had the other day, and how the Anglicans often put pressure on you and try to manipulate you into a situation where you slip up and incriminate yourself. So they didn't like that very much, I don't think, because today an interesting thing happened when I went out. I decided to go out for a bit, but I forgot my key and came back on the way back from the car. I'll just tell you the story. On the way back from the car, I heard a door close. Now, it had been quiet in the building almost the whole morning. I step outside, I come back and hear a door click. Fine, whatever. This happens all the time, mind you, but whatever. So I go to my car and I start prepping it, and out comes, I'll call him Stinkbog. Baron Stinkbog. Baron Stinkbog. So Baron Stinkbog comes out. And the funny thing is he wasn't out really all day. But the minute I open my door, he comes, and I go to my vehicle to ready it to leave. He comes out. Now he comes out, and I ready my vehicle. I close the hood, and I'm going to get into my car, and my car unlocks. This isn't normal behavior, and I'm certain that I never touched my lock. I looked in his hand, and he's carrying like a little black device, and I was really curious. I was wondering to myself, is there a device that you can capture the radio frequency of someone's key, copy that to a device, and then use that device to open locks? I have no idea if that's possible. This is the government we're talking about, because the Anglican Church is related to, has relationships with the government. I talked about how is that far-fetched, you say? Well, no, it's not. This Bible college is really high up. Premier Baird wanted to go to this Bible college, actually. Van de Gould was charged for a $30 million detaxation fraud by the federal government, and it was up to $300 million that he was sending offshore. This was before the Panama Papers came out. Van de Gould is an Anglican. Van de Gould is an Anglican accountant, and Van de Gould has helped many Anglicans, very powerful Anglicans in Sydney, out hiding their money. He got off because of the federal police botched it. Now, I'm wondering if the federal police botched it because of a loss of data, or tampered data, or corrupted data. Now, if it's corrupted data and tampered data, my neighbor over there could easily have done that, because he's been doing that to my computers for over a year. for 2 years. And he can access my computers when they don't have wireless cards and when they don't have Bluetooth cards. So it'd be really easy for him if he had within 100 meters of federal computers, he could easily get rid of all that data and could easily, set Van de Gould free. Van de Gould has given lots of money to Moore College, and Van de Gould has given lots of more money to Sydney Anglican institution for their evangelism and furthering their cause. They want to have lots of power within Sydney and Australia on a whole. They want to control everything. And Premier Barrett is an Anglican. Now, Premier Barrett also is interested in cybercrime, went to Israel and talked about cybercrime, and went to Israel and talked about tech startups and all this such things. And all these people here, a whole group of people, about 10 to 15 people that I've seen coming to and fro these units, dealing with computers and involved in computers, are tech savvy, and they have computer degrees, and they're all have been involved in these attacks against us, and in techniques of manipulating the copper wire infrastructure of Australia, ways to manipulate to their advantage. So it's really, really bad, man, and it's going completely under the radar. I tried several times. I went to the police. I even went to ICAC, and they rejected the report. They even lied about things that I said, and they twisted all my words around to make it all look ridiculous. But it's all fact. I've got data, and I'm trying to protect it, and they're trying to destroy it while I'm trying to protect it. So they don't like what I'm doing. They don't like what I'm saying. They certainly probably didn't like what I said yesterday. And so I'm sitting there at my car to continue on with my story, and out comes this guy. So is it possible to have a keychain, to have a device that captures the radio signal from a key and then copies that to another device so that another device can open your car? I wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it at all. These guys can get into air-gapped computers, any device. So it would be, I'm guessing that would be really easy to do, to get something that captures a radio signal from a car key and then opens it up. So I was kind of chuckled. I'm like, huh. So he walked down to the mailbox. So I walked down to the mailbox, checked my mailbox to see if it was locked, because I don't trust this guy. Haven't trusted him since I moved in here, and for good reason too. And so he's standing on the sidewalk looking around. So I stood on the sidewalk looking around, nothing to see, no one there, nothing at all. So he turns around and he turned his right side to me. He was standing at the recycle bins, and I looked at his glasses, and he had like glasses like on the arm of the glass. There was like a little bit that stuck out. It was almost like a little box. And I was like, what the hell, man? Are you like wearing spy glasses? And it looked like a little box that held like battery, or like some like a little tiny board, or like a device or something like that. I was like, dude, you're not wearing spy glasses, are you? You're not trying to like catch me doing something that you can use against me, are you, with your stupid spy glasses? So I says, oh, nice glasses. I walked for about 5 paces or whatever, and if I include any, he goes, what? He got really mad. He raised his voice and yelled really loud 2 or 3 times. What? What'd you say? What? He was really, really aggressive. And I don't care. It doesn't bother me none. Whatever. But what I'm saying is that if I had done that, everybody would have jumped out the window and popped their heads out the window and would have looked at me. Now, if you had watched some other videos, you'd know that the Anglicans, there's lots of evidence saying that the Anglican Church, through the property manager here in Moore Theological College, want to buy this entire building. They've already bought the building next to us, and they had that huge property on Georges River Road given to them. And I think they're buying units behind us as well. And so I think they're buying units in those buildings behind us as well. And I think they want to just own this whole plot of land, which is going to be worth like, close to $100 million, $70 million, $80 million. That's a lot of freaking moolah. That's a lot of copper. That's a lot of change. So this guy's kind of a very aggressive person. He's a nasty person, but he's like a toxic, nasty person. He's not a tough guy. He's really, gangly, and he's an older guy. He's not threatening physically, but he's nasty, and he's the type of guy that would poison your drink. He was the type of guy that would break into your house and poison your food, or poison your milk, or put something in your car to break it or scratch your car. He's the type of guy that would get someone to get one of his friends that owe him a favor to go to your workplace and smash into your car, and then run away. Right? He's that type of guy. And he's bragged to me several times about all the people that he knows and everything that he knows. So anyways, the thing is that this guy, I've not trusted this guy since the day he moved here, and he's really aggressive. And yet he is here, and everybody lets him get away with whatever he wants to get away with. Now, if, like I said, if I had set that out the garbage can, if I had raised my voice like that and talked to somebody like that, anybody, I would have been in shit. And I would have been brought before the strata, and there would have been complaints raised. But nothing was said about him. And that tells me that he's with the Anglicans. For a long time, I have thought that he has been with the Anglicans. Now I know he's with the Anglicans. He's like the enforcer. He's not with them. He says, "Oh, I'm not with that lot. Oh, I'm not with that lot." But he's like he's not an enforcer, but he's like a smokescreen. He's not affiliated with the Anglicans, so he can be their deniability. He can be their alibi or their smokescreen. He can get things done on the outside. He can do the dirty deeds that the Anglicans don't want to do. You know? Intimidation, getting his friends to intimidate. And I've heard from several people that he's got a history, a past, a little bit of a dark side. So he could use that and get things done up in the Anglican Church here in this building. And maybe that's why he's still here. So this is what I'm saying, that this church has a really dark side to it, and nobody will admit it and nobody will say anything, but there's a dark underbelly to this group of people, to this institution, and they've got a lot of power in Australia. And this guy, Stinkbog, he's just one example. He's just one example of one guy who he hides within this organization to get things done for himself as well. I'm sure he's got a life on the side, and he uses this environment to suit his own purposes too. That's for another video. But that's what happened today, and that's in direct response to yesterday, to my videos yesterday, I think. And twice I walked out the door today, and twice there was people right there, right, watching me, and twice he was there watching and guarding, as if an Anglican or whatever walks out of the unit, he walks out of the unit, and he's like keeping an eye on things, watching, because he wants to see if I say anything or do anything to harass or to bother them, or that he can say that I harassed or bothered them. And that's the whole thing here. They're constantly looking for a way to tie you down to something and to incriminate you, tie you to an action that incriminates you. And that's harassment, and that's entrapment, and it's completely wrong. But these people get away with it because they're powerful, they have government friends, and they have police friends. And that's how cowards like Stinkbog hide. He's probably done lots of bad stuff, but he hides within this. He provides a service, and they cover up his dirtiness. This isn't a Christian organization. This is more like a mafia. This is more like a black market. This is worse than any bikie gang I've ever seen.